Hi, welcome to Jilly G's Kitchen. Today we're going to make Swiss steak, and it will be gluten-free. And this recipe is my grandma's recipe, and it's steak that you kind of pound out flat, coat in flour, put it in a dish. It's baked in the oven, and it has dry onion soup mix and tomato sauce, and that makes a really nice gravy for mashed potatoes. For the longest time I didn't make this recipe because I couldn't find dry onion soup mix that was gluten-free. I found recipes that you could make your own gluten-free or make your own dry onion soup mix, but I couldn't find the ingredients to make it gluten-free. But I was able to find in the last couple of years bouillon cubes that are gluten-free. I'll put this brand in the description. So I have 2 beef bouillon cubes in this bowl, and I just kind of have mashed them up. They will equal about 2 tablespoons of bouillon. This is a double batch that I'm making, so I will put the recipe for a single batch. I'm just making a lot today. So 2 tablespoons beef bouillon. I have a half a cup of dried onion flakes. And in here I have some dried parsley, celery seed, paprika, and just pepper. I don't have any salt in here because the bouillon is a little bit salty. I mean, really there's nothing to it. You just mix it together. Mostly just making sure the beef bouillon cube is crushed up enough. So I'm just going to set that aside, and then I'm going to get our meat and I'll show you how we pound that out. I have round steak here that I got from the butcher, and they were in pretty big long strips, and so I've cut them into more manageable pieces, and they're about a ½ inch thick. And so we're just going to pound these out just a little bit thinner. You can use plastic wrap if you want. You can use plastic wrap if you want, but parchment works for me. So I'm just going to pound these out to get them a little bit thinner, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I've got these pounded out, and they're ready to go. The 9x13 pan I put in the oven at 400, and it has about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there, and we're going to heat up the pan and the oil in the oven. And while that's heating up, I do just have some gluten-free flour here. It's my mix. You could just use whatever gluten-free flour you like. So we're just going to coat both sides in the flour, and then just set this aside. And then when that pan and the oil are hot, I'm going to bring you in closer and show you what we'll do to get this going. So my 9x13 pan with 2 tablespoons of olive oil is nice and hot from being in the oven. Just want to be very careful because it is hot. What we're going to do is just kind of put in our meat that we've coated in the flour, and then you just want to turn them a little bit. Use tongs. I just use my fingers for everything. You don't have to do this much. I'll probably crowd the pan a little bit more than necessary. They're kind of irregular cuts of meat here. I'm gonna tip this around, get some of this oil over here. Once we get all of these in the pan, kind of coat it a little bit in the oil. It probably needed more oil, but that's okay. Okay, so now these are ready, and what we're going to do is our dried onion soup mix. We are just going to sprinkle this over the top like that. I have 2 cups of tomato sauce mixed with about a ½ a cup of water, and then we're just going to pour this over the top. I'm going to cover this with foil, and we're going to bake it in the oven at 400 for probably about 45 minutes or so, and we'll pick you back up when they're almost finished. So I'm just checking this. It's been about an hour, and I'm going to see how tender it is. And we want to see if it's kind of fork tender, and it feels pretty good, but we want this to go about another hour. Then it should be ready. So back in the oven. Okay, so my Swiss steak has been in the oven for about 2.5 hours, and I've just been letting it sit here and rest while my vegetables and other things cook. I'm just going to show you what it looks like. So just take a little piece of steak. Have some mashed potatoes here and some of this sauce. Put on top of your mashed potatoes. And some vegetables. Okay, let's give this a bite. It's pretty fork tender. You could do this in a crock pot or an instant pot. I just prefer the oven. I don't know if you can see the steam, it's very steamy. Good old-fashioned Sunday dinner. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.